Between Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, there's 70,000 points, 40,000 rebounds, and 10 NBA MVPs. But they're more than just NBA legends. They also shared a beautiful friendship and used to hang out all the time. That was until their careers ended. And things got really ugly. There were loads of insults, disrespect, and they completely stopped speaking to each other for over a decade. This is the story of two of the greatest centers ever and one of the biggest beefs in NBA history. In 1959, when Chamberlain joined the NBA, Kareem was only 12 years old. But just 2 years later, when Wilt was breaking NBA scoring records, Kareem was almost a 7-footer himself, and the two giants met for the first time. It was during a basketball tournament in Rucker Park, where Wilt dominated in front of the delighted New York crowd. Kareem was watching on the sideline, but he was so starstruck that he didn't dare to approach Chamberlain after the game. Thankfully, his friend wasn't so shy, and he dragged Kareem along to meet their idol. When Kareem, then known as Lou Alcindor, introduced himself to Chamberlain, he couldn't believe that Wilt already knew his name. "Oh yeah, I heard of you. You're the young boy that plays for the Catholic school. Supposed to be getting good." At the time, Alcindor had just won the first of his 3 high school championships, and was at the beginning of a 71-game win streak. After they shook hands, Wilt took a good look at young Kareem and gave him an unusual compliment. "You've got good legs. I wish I had legs like that." A few months later, Wilt and Kareem's paths crossed again in a New York gym, and Chamberlain immediately recognized the young Alcindor. "Still making a name for yourself, huh, kid?" "I'm trying," Kareem replied. "You're gonna need to pack on some meat if you want to bang with the big boys," Wilt explained while placing some dumbbells at Kareem's feet. "You need muscle if you're going to jump with 3 guys climbing on your back." Abdul-Jabbar was super skinny and wasn't able to lift that weight, but he did pledge to work on it. And you might imagine the two 7-footers would bond over a workout, playing basketball or while discussing post moves. But you'd be wrong. In late 1961, Wilt bought a nightclub in Harlem called Small's Paradise, which soon became the most popular jazz joint in the city, often visited by famous musicians, NBA stars, and comedians. Kareem's father was a jazz musician, so Kareem loved jazz, and he absolutely adored Chamberlain. Soon enough, the underage Kareem became a regular at the club and would often hang out in Chamberlain's apartment near Central Park.
He kind of took me under his wing.
He'd bring him along to parties, to horse racing, or they would just drive around in Chamberlain's $30,000 custom Bentley, which cost approximately 6 times what Kareem's father made in a year. But other than Wilt's wealth and his impressive collection of jazz records, Kareem was even more in awe of all of the beautiful women. Every time I visited Wilt, there was another beautiful woman. Not only were they gorgeous, they were also friendly, funny, and kind. It would have been easy to dismiss Wilt's success with women as merely the result of his wealth and celebrity, but the women I met seemed to genuinely enjoy his company. I tried to copy Wilt's style, to be suave and sophisticated, but I didn't have it in me. I was shy and quiet, and I avoided the spotlight. There was one of Wilt's girlfriends named Crystal who was quiet and calm like Jabbar, and Kareem fell in love. But if you think that breach of the bro code was the incident that drove them apart, this wasn't it. Kareem never did anything about it, and Wilt probably never even found out about this. And even if he did, he had so many women in his life that he probably wouldn't care. In fact, Jabbar continued to spend so much time around Chamberlain that his mother had to tell him to stop going to Wilt's place and being a burden, feeling that a grown man had better things to do than hang out with a high school teenager. Then, in 1965, their relationship paused organically, as Kareem accepted a scholarship from UCLA and moved to California. They still hung out occasionally when they were both in New York, but Kareem was now a college superstar, and more importantly, he wasn't the same wide-eyed, starstruck teenager as before. Some of Wilt's actions even disgusted Kareem.
I got on an elevator with Wilt, and as the elevator's going down, some guy gets on and says, "Oh, wow, how's the weather up there?" He said that to Wilt. Wilt spat on the dude and said, "It's raining." And I was like, oh my God.
In 1969, when he finished college, Jabbar had 2 offers on the table, one from the NBA's Milwaukee Bucks and the second one from the Nets, who played in the ABA. Both teams selected him first in the draft, and the Nets offered Jabbar nearly 3 times as much money. But Kareem wasn't fascinated with material gain like he was when he was driving around in Wilt's Bentley. My idea of success no longer looked like Wilt's idea. It wasn't based on flash and conspicuous wealth. The Bucks made the better offer of $1.4 million, which I accepted. Immediately after, the Nets came back with an offer of $3.2 million, which I declined, because I'd already given my word to the Bucks. So, in 1969, Kareem joined the NBA.
The Milwaukee Bucks won the most important draft pick in the history of the NBA. The prize is the sensational Lou Alcindor from UCLA.
And already in the fourth game of the season, his Bucks were scheduled to meet with Wilt's Lakers. Before the game, the media recognized Kareem to be the next great big man and tried to make him into Wilt's enemy, especially since the retirement of Bill Russell. But Kareem was having none of it. The two giants were still cool to each other without any bad blood. But because Kareem was now Wilt's rival, and a very dangerous one at that, they weren't anywhere near as friendly as they were just a few years before. When the game finally started, it was clear that Jabbar was going to be a problem. The Lakers won the game, and Wilt had 25 points and 25 rebounds, but Kareem was no slouch, with 23 and 20. This was the first time I ever played against Wilt for real, and I learned a few things. This was the most physical game I ever played. I'm satisfied that I did the best I could. Many fans were eagerly waiting on their next matchup that was coming up a month later, but unfortunately, they would have to wait much longer. NBA fans don't have to wait much longer for the playoffs this year, though, so don't miss any of the hoops action with our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. With the competition heating up for the playoffs, DraftKings is heating up too with some unbelievable deals. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 on anything will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. And if you're already signed up for DraftKings, like we are, you can get a no-sweat bet. DraftKings has something for everybody. Even returning customers will score a no-sweat NBA bet. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, not to worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, where you draft a player roster and put your skills to the test against your friends or other fans nationally. So, what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code NONSTOP and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code NONSTOP, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And always remember to gamble responsibly. Because in the 12th game of that season, Wilt suffered a severe knee injury that would sideline him for the rest of the year.
I got the news that he was going to miss a long time.
When he returned for the 70-71 campaign, he was still a great player, but it was clear that the injury and the fact that he was now 34 made him a bit slower and less bouncy. Still, even at an older age, Wilt was more athletic than almost any player in the NBA, and he was by far the strongest.
Well, we hope that it's strong enough, but, it pretty feels different, I must say. The only way that we can really test it is to try it.
When Kareem and Wilt played each other again, it was clear that Jabbar still couldn't match Chamberlain's physicality. Then came November 20th, 1970. Facing the Lakers, it was Milwaukee's 14th game of the season. In the previous 13 games, Kareem averaged 33 points on 60% shooting. But when he faced Wilt, he finished with 29 points and 13 rebounds, shooting just 40% from the field and fouling out of the game.
And Happy Hairston goes down hard, and Jabbar is hot.
Wilt had 28 points, 23 rebounds, and 10 blocks, 6 of which came at Kareem's expense. In his entire basketball career, no one had ever blocked Kareem's legendary skyhook, and Wilt had blocked it twice in one game.
Chamberlain denied, he blocks another one. That time he got the hook shot.
Because of Wilt's superior strength, Jabbar couldn't establish a deep post position against Chamberlain, which hurt his performance. So, when they met the next time, Kareem decided to change his offensive approach. On December 21st, the Bucks finally defeated the Lakers 113-88, and this time, Kareem was dominant.
Wilt said, Sonny, this is the first time that I've ever looked around and said, maybe I need some help.
With 37 points and 16 rebounds on 52% shooting. In the last game, Wilt would back away from me. Then, when I would make my move, he would time his leap perfectly and block the shot. This time, I turned around and faced the basket, and that made him play more honestly. I never did that before. Kareem. Milwaukee and LA played each other 5 times that year. The Bucks were loaded with talent, and the Lakers played without an injured Jerry West, so Milwaukee won 4 of 5 games. Because the Bucks played in the Western Conference in the 70s, Wilt and Kareem would also meet in the playoffs. Jabbar was the league MVP that year, and the Bucks were by far the deeper team, and they won the series in 5 games. However, Jabbar averaged just 25 points per game, compared to 31 in the regular season, and Wilt did a fantastic job guarding him. Chamberlain averaged 22 points and 18 rebounds, and when the final game ended, the Bucks fans gave him a standing ovation, which never happened to him before. He's never played better in a long time. Wilt did a hell of a job, which points to the fine job Alcindor did for us, the Bucks coach Costello. After the series, Wilt had no ill will towards Kareem. He wished him luck in the finals and hoped for him to win the title. And the Bucks did it. They won the 1971 NBA championship. So when they met the Lakers again in the 72 season, this time time, the Bucks were the favorite. But with the recovered West and the improved play of the Lakers' role players like Jim McMillan and Pat Riley, the Lakers defeated the Bucks 4 times out of 5 matchups in the regular season. Though that one Bucks win was a big one. On January 9, 1972, the Bucks beat the Lakers 120-104, snapping Los Angeles' historic 33-game winning streak, an NBA record that still stands today. The two rivals met in the Western Conference Finals once again, and this time Kareem greatly outshined Wilt in scoring. Kareem averaged 33 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 assists in the series, compared to just 10 points and 19 rebounds for Wilt. But despite leading the NBA in field goal percentage that year, Chamberlain deliberately took a backseat on offense to fully concentrate on guarding Jabbar, and it worked. Kareem shot 57% from the field during the 71-72 season on 29 attempts per game, but against Wilt in the 72 WCF, he shot 45% on 33 shots. The Lakers had a phenomenal chemistry that season, and despite Kareem's greatness, they won the series in 6 games and would go on to win the 1972 title against the Knicks. In 73, the Bucks surprisingly lost in the playoffs to the Warriors, which denied us a 3rd consecutive clash between Wilt and Kareem. The Lakers then defeated the Warriors to reach another finals, but this time they would lose to the Knicks, after which Wilt Chamberlain retired from the NBA. Chamberlain and Jabbar played each other 28 times, and they split them evenly, with 14 wins each. When Wilt retired, he and Kareem were still friendly, and despite their rivalry, there was no bad blood yet. Jabbar didn't like that Chamberlain supported President Nixon, and he was very critical of Wilt's derogatory comments on black women in his autobiography. But there was no real beef between them until Jabbar started to win championships with the Lakers, and when he started closing in on Wilt's all-time scoring record, their beef started to get real ugly. Wilt was jealous that Kareem was now receiving all the praise, and that some members of the media considered him to be the best player of all time. So he started throwing insults to diminish Kareem's success. Wilt was accusing him of not doing enough to help his teams win, that he didn't score enough or rebound enough, and that he played poor defense. In 1984, when Kareem broke Chamberlain's scoring record against the Jazz, Wilt was supposed to be in attendance, but he didn't want to fly to Utah for Kareem. However, before the next game, Wilt was present in the Los Angeles Forum to congratulate Kareem in front of the Lakers fans. But it was clear that he didn't really want to be there. Chamberlain came in a black tank top, he gave a half-assed half-a-minute speech, and the look on his face was saying that he'd rather be anywhere else. Speaking to the Los Angeles Times the following day, he was baffled by the hype that Abdul-Jabbar's landmark moment had created. It's really quite strange. If I had received half the fanfare that Kareem's getting at this time, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And there are a few things that are bothering me about it. If this is so great, well, it's only one of about 90 records I held. I must be in a world by myself. In 1988, Chamberlain said that Kareem should have retired 5 years ago, and that Jabbar played against poor competition, as there were only a couple of good centers in the NBA.
I watch Kareem out there now. I think the center position has suffered. I think they have lousy centers right now. There are 2 or 3 who are really good. The rest of them couldn't make Overbrook High School.
When interviewers asked him directly about their matchup, Wilt said that he'd easily defeat Jabbar.
I'm too strong for Kareem. And if you're going to go one-on-one, you take it to the basket. He scored better than I did. Did he rebound better than I did? Did he pass better than I did? Did he run better than I did? He shot a hook shot better than I did. I mean, I would have also loved to have a chance to play against Kareem when I was scoring 50 points a game.
But this trash-talking and the insults were mainly one-sided, as Kareem never truly attacked Chamberlain or responded to his insults. That is, until Jabbar retired.
Wilt had a big ego, and he started taking shots at me. When that happened, I didn't like it.
As he dedicated an entire chapter of his book to Wilt, whom he mockingly called Wilt Chumperlane. Many remember how frustrated you were when your team couldn't win the NCAA tournament. You complained about the officiating, your teammates, and other things, and then quit, leaving college early to tour with the Globetrotters. That seemed to set a pattern for you. After any tough test in which you didn't do well, you blamed those around you and quit. People will remember that I worked with my teammates and helped us win. You will be remembered as a whining crybaby and a quitter, stats and all. This was the only time ever that somebody insulted Wilt like that, and the relationship between the two giants of the game seemed unrepairable. However, Chamberlain passed away in 1999, and Jabbar said they had managed to patch things up before he died, which likely happened in 1996, when the NBA organized the 50 Greatest Players celebration. It's a shame that these two legends didn't see eye to eye for more than 20 years. But hey, at least when it was time for Kareem to see his scoring record get broken, he didn't congratulate LeBron in a tank top. For more great basketball content, keep watching Nonstop.